Hey guys, it's Christine, also known as IvyWinter. Thank you for joining me for another Disney video. So first, I know what you're thinking. It's really empty behind me now, and that's because I've packed up a lot of my stuff already and am moving in literally 3 days, 4 days. It's a lot. So kind of a sparse background for the next 2 videos, but that's what happens when you move states. So today's video is continuing my do's and don'ts series, and I really appreciated all the comments that you guys left me in past. I really appreciate all the comments that you guys left me in the past videos. In fact, so much so that I'm hoping to collect them all together for like an overall 4 parks do's and don'ts from you guys. But anyway, we're gonna move on with Hollywood Studios. And Hollywood Studios, another part that gets a bit of flack for not having a ton necessarily, even with Toy Story Land having opened up, but Galaxy's Edge is opening soon, and that's gonna change a lot. These do's and don'ts, of course, are looking at Hollywood Studios as it is right now. This is pre-Galaxy's Edge, so probably gonna have to do another one of these when that opens, but just keep that in mind. First, do rope drop the park, which means getting there when it opens, and head straight for Slinky Dog, especially if you don't have a fast pass. If you really want to ride Slinky Dog and you're not doing like an after hours event or something like that, and you don't have a fast pass, the best way to get on Slinky Dog is just to get up early and go right there. Sure, granted, everyone does that, but you're still gonna have a shorter wait early in the morning rather than waiting later in the day. And besides, even if you get on that line and you're like, oh my God, it's 60 minutes already, at least you spend that 60 minutes first thing in the morning, it's done, and you get to do the rest of your day without having to worry about trying to get on it. Don't miss out on the shows. They're actually really fun. I'm not big on all of them, but I will say that I still think Indiana Jones is a ton of fun, especially if you've never seen it. And Beauty and the Beast is a pretty fun one as well. Feels very Broadway light is what I would like to call it. I'm not the biggest fan of the Little Mermaid show, but by all means, if you're a fan of the movie, you'll probably like it, so you should check that out. But definitely take some time to at least catch one of them. They've been there for a really long time. They're very classic Hollywood studios, so I think it's worth kind of putting them into your itinerary. Do get ready for a lot of Star Wars everywhere, and this is before Galaxy's Edge is even opening. Some people complain about this. They aren't huge Star Wars fans, and they go to Hollywood studios and they're like, oh my God, it's just Star Wars everywhere. Like, where is everything else? And yeah, I mean, Star Wars really took over that park. You have Star Tours, which is kind of the established ride that has been there forever. And then you've got the Star Wars stage show, you've got Launch Bay, you used to have March of the First Order, though now they have stopped doing that, and as well as the Wandering Stormtroopers. That's a more recent change. And you even have Star Wars fireworks, so it's kind of everywhere. The positive part is with Galaxy's Edge opening, that's why they're taking away some of the Star Wars stuff like the March of the First Order, because they're saving that for Galaxy's Edge. So I think in the future we are going to see a lot of Star Wars stuff just move to Galaxy's Edge and kind of out of the way of the rest of the park. But just prepare yourself for that. It might be great and exciting if you're a Star Wars fan. It might annoy you to no end if you don't care about Star Wars, but just expect it. Don't assume that there's nothing to do. There's plenty to do in Hollywood Studios. I think that a lot of people get it in their head that there's just nothing at all, and I agree that, you know, there aren't a ton of attractions. I'm not gonna sit here and say that it has as much going on as like Magic Kingdom, but there are things to do. There are rides to ride, there are places to eat, there's areas to explore. Don't get that in your head and kind of have a negative mindset before you even get into the park. Do single rider for Rock and Roller Coaster. Similar to my tip for Epcot with Test Track. Anytime you can do single rider on a ride, which is few rides in Disney World, just do it. Typically, you're gonna have a shorter wait. Now, Rock and Roller Coaster is one that some people argue the single rider can sometimes be long, but I've never had that issue. I actually rode it once 5 times in less than an hour doing single rider. I would have went for a 6th, but my body said no, so I didn't do it. But it is totally plausible to not only ride it once, but maybe a few times in single rider if again you're open If again you're open to splitting up your party, or if you are going solo, then great, it's a non-issue, but you should definitely take advantage of the single rider line. Don't be late for Fantasmic. It's a seated stadium, and it's very easy to get crappy seats if you try to roll up 15 minutes before. I've had the crappy seats because I've seen the show a ton of times, so it didn't really bother me as much. But if this is your first time or you haven't seen it in a long time, you want a really good view, which, I mean, at the end, the steamboat with all the characters, you want a good view. Don't try to get over there 10 to 15 minutes before the show. If you're really dedicated to like taking it all in and getting a good seat, some people line up an hour before. I would recommend at least 30 to 40 minutes before, because it is really easy to just get shoved into a back corner seat, and then it's not the best view. Do enjoy a beer or a bite at Baseline Tap House. This is a more recent addition to the park. It is on the way to Galaxy's Edge. Right now, it's pretty quiet. It might change when Galaxy's Edge opens, because that is going to be going towards the entrance. But right now, it's across from Muppet Vision 3D. It's right next to Sci-Fi Dine-In. It's actually connected to Sci-Fi Dine-In. A lot of people don't know that, but there's this little back door that can get you through the building. But it is a really cool little place. You can get a beer flight, you can get some cheese and meats and a charcuterie board. You can get pretzels and dips and stuff. I really like that area. It has great outdoor seating, so you can get a beer and sit and people watch. It's never too busy, I've noticed. Like, I've never had to wait behind more than like 2 people, and I can usually get a table pretty easily, even on more crowded days. So I definitely think you should take some time to go there if you're trying to slow down and you want to get a little bite to eat. Maybe you need a snack midday to get you through to the next meal. It's a really good location. And again, that might change with Galaxy's Edge opening, but right now I think it's worth checking out. Don't eat quick service at Hollywood Studios. Get some table service at like Hollywood Brown Derby or Mama Melrose. Trust me. I don't think the quick service at Hollywood Studios is anything to write home about. I think of the 4 parks, it has the poorest options for quick service. If you're gonna do one, I would say ABC Commissary. They've been changing up their menu quite a bit. Every time I go, it's something a little bit different, and it's okay. But I think that you're better off spending a little more money on a sit-down meal if you're going to eat there. I just personally, again, this is totally subjective, but I just don't think it has the best quick service options, and you're gonna have a more satisfying meal if you just spend a few dollars at Hollywood Brown Derby. Do watch the Citizens of Hollywood. They are the character actors that walk around, and they are fantastic. They are just expert improv comics. They are hilarious. They kind of run with things that guests, tell them. They do all sorts of different skits and stuff. One of my favorites is actually when you're walking into the park, they'll have like a guy in a director's chair that's yelling out like the spiel of a movie, but based on guests that he's seeing walk down the street. It's really, really funny. So if you see them anywhere, stop and really watch them and enjoy it. Don't just like take a glimpse and walk past, because these guys are amazing. And I totally think that they deserve the audience that they often get. And lastly, don't miss Toy Story Land at night. I think it's a way more beautiful land at night. It's cool during the daytime. Some people have some issues with this land. I'm not one of them. I think it's actually a really cool land. It is 10 times better at night. The lighting is gorgeous. If you can do a Slinky Dog ride at night, amazing. You get this beautiful view of all of the lights. I just think it's better at night. I think it really shines when you see it all lit up. No pun intended. So definitely take some time to check it out at night. I think it'll be a little bit more impressive. So those are my do's and don'ts for Hollywood Studios. Just like the other 2 videos, I want you to tell me your do's and don'ts for Hollywood Studios. Leave them in the comments below. Like I said, I want to make a video at the end of all this, just collecting a bunch of the best ones that I get. If you like this video, then like it. If you like me, you should subscribe. I make videos every single week. I will have a different background soon, a better background, so don't let this deter you. And definitely subscribe. Thank you as always for watching, and have a great rest of the day. Bye.